And we are live.
Acting foolish, overdressed, confusing the crowd. You won't see me at this bar again. Happy hour habits, lost my feet on the ground.
Coming to you live from the great state of Wisconsin, the Overdue Sports team. I am your host, Will Massa. Jake, over to my right, my co-host. How we doing, buddy?
We're feeling pretty good. Got the golf in Wisconsin this weekend. Unusual for early March, but ready to talk about some college basketball conference tournament action.
It is that time of the year. This one, these are kicking off tomorrow, all these conferences, and won't be very exciting, to be honest with you. These conferences are kind of clear cut with not a lot of dark horse opportunities, but there's still some value here and there.
So what we plan on doing is we discussed last week that we wanted to do this for every conference, but there's 30 something of them. 25 of them are probably not much there. So our plan was to go through, do like a video series, and we're just going to group some of these conferences. Like you'll see at the layout how we do it. It's going to be pretty similar throughout the whole series. So ready to go?
Yeah, let's do it. We're kicking off with the ASUN, which I've caught a decent amount. Queens has actually been pretty nice to me throughout this year.
I like their
Just
totals.
in the regular season. Yeah, they
trips. They don't play a ton of defense.
Yeah, they kind of run the floor pretty well. But this tournament as a whole is pretty unexciting. You've got Eastern Kentucky at the top, plus 140 to win it. I don't love. To me, this is Eastern Kentucky's tournament to lose, rather than somebody else's to win. I don't know how you feel about it, but I genuinely just feel like it's Eastern Kentucky's to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the teams at the top are definitely in these smaller conferences, the ones that you really got to look at. And that's not very fun or very exciting, oh, yeah, take the favorite. But like in the reality of it, like it seems like most of the time the winner's pool, you could call it, is like those first three teams. Just from betting on this conference in the past couple of years, it all depends on like who wants to play a lick of defense that day. You know what I mean? These like most of the teams in this conference, like get up and down fairly well. Their totals are in the like 150 range plus. It seems like every game. Like Kennesaw State is always in the 160s, 170s. And I mean, to me, anyways, it seems like who's going to play defense. And I think Eastern Kentucky is probably the one team they could count on to do that, anyways.
Yeah, and I mean, really, like if I were picking just value-wise, like my best pick here, it would be Lipscomb. They're actually a very solid team. They shoot the three really well. They have a really solid efficiency percentage on offense, but they lost one of their starting point guards for the year in February. So they're kind of down a guy. And I just can't back them to win this thing. Like I mean, Stetson, I haven't been super impressed by. I know they're the 2 seed, but I think Lipscomb is better as a team. And even like the Florida Gulf Coast as like the plus 3,000 play as the 7 seed. I don't love that play. I've not been very impressed by them. They've been weird.
Yeah, they were pretty bad, if I remember correctly, to start the season. Like, their non-con in the early part of the conference schedule. They weren't very good whatsoever. To me, like, I think Kennesaw State's I don't know about that one. I think them being where are they at? They're
the 9 seed
plus 225. We're looking at BetMGM, like we're using VSiN for the odds. I know they change them. They probably won't change a ton more, but like I took notes on Thursday and the odds changed drastically. But like Kennesaw State seems like an obvious pick. They won the tournament last year and they played Xavier pretty close in the first round of the tournament last year. But Will would probably be able to speak on who left the team and who didn't. I don't have any idea. And I don't think anyone should have any idea unless you're like actually looking for it.
They lost a lot last year. But I do like their coach. That he left too. He's at South Florida this year. Amir Rahim.
Oh yeah, NBA guy.
He's at
Yeah, he played
he's
at
at South
Grizzlies.
Florida this year.
Mhm.
So they lost like their whole team. They had a lot of kids go with them. So, and even though they're in the 9 seed, like they don't even have that coaching like fallback to where you say like, oh, like when Izzo is a seven seed in the Big Ten tournament, you say, oh well, it's Izzo, so you still have that going for you. Like they don't even have that, so the experience is gone. They lost a lot. They did return one guy from last year, but I still don't think them as a to win this. I mean maybe Queens sneaks a game. They play Florida Gulf Coast tomorrow in the first round. I
Mhm.
believe that spread was 4 in favor of FGCU. Might be a good
I
point for Queens.
Yeah, Queens is. I don't think Queens is all that bad, and they're like a second year D2 or D1 program. I think they
Yeah,
moved up from D2 last year. I don't even know if they could go to the tournament. So like
that's true. They might not be able
that's
to.
a that's another little wrinkle when deciding who's going to win this tournament, because like they might win the conference tournament, but they always say like, oh yeah, we're just trying to win, but I mean, does it always shake out that way? I mean, I don't know. Like, is the motivation the same? I would probably. I'm probably going in a direction it's not true, but you never know. Um, yeah, to me, it's Eastern Kentucky or Lipscomb. Those would be my two picks. If you
Those would be
wanted
my
to,
two.
yeah, if you wanted to throw a sleeper out there, I'd like Queens. Gulf Coast has been playing a little bit better as of late, but maybe even a team like Stetson, or North Florida, but otherwise I don't think anyone longer than yeah, anyone at the bottom, they have no chance. Like Bellarmine sucks, Central Arkansas sucks, Jacksonville sucks. So it's pretty cut and dry to me. Like it's probably one of the top
Yeah, I
two.
mean, maybe somebody catches Eastern Kentucky on a bad day, but I actually like them as a group this year, and they've pretty much been laying like near 8 to 10 points in
Mm-hmm.
every single conference game. So I
Yeah.
just think it's theirs to lose, and maybe Lipscomb gets them. I wasn't impressed by North Florida this year. Austin P is weird. I can't really figure them out, but I haven't been impressed in the couple of games that I've seen. But
Yeah. So, I mean, that's pretty much our thoughts on the ASUN. You want to move on to the Patriot?
yeah, no, let's do Horizon. Horizon is
Oh,
alphabetical.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I
We're
was
in
out of
alphabetical
order.
here. So we got the Horizon League home to the UWGB Phoenix as the 3 seed in this one. Horizon this year has been odd. I've been really impressed with Green Bay. They've turned a corner after being like one of the worst programs in Division One basketball for a handful of years. Oakland is the 1 seed at plus 240 to win it as of yesterday, the odds, and Youngstown is the 2 seed at plus 195. And Youngstown is always going to be a solid bet in this conference. Like they always have experience. Like they've been there. Oakland to me has been kind of streaky with what they've done. They're shooting. Same with Wright State. Oakland and Wright State to me have been pretty streaky as far as like how they score. Um, the value I think is on Green Bay. I'm seeing plus 950 on Visa as of yesterday. So if you can get them as the 3 seed at plus 950, I think that's definitely worth a sprinkle.
Yeah, same here. I think the same kind of scenario, right? The teams at the bottom of this conference aren't gonna do anything. Like
IUPUI, Detroit Mercy.
IUPUI, Detroit Mercy, obviously not, right? And no one in their right mind would tell you that. But the top, I'd say half of this conference, I feel like any team could win it. I think Purdue, Fort Wayne, or Youngstown State is a very like realistic chance. Like either of those teams could win. I mean, IPFW is a little weird, but
They've come on as of late. They were bad at the beginning of the year.
mhm,
Like I was surprised because they were pretty good last year, and I
mhm.
was very surprised. But also, Cleveland State was solid last year. They made a pretty good run in the NIT last year, or were they in the CBI
No,
or
that
the
was the
NIT?
CBI, but yeah,
CBI, but they
either
made a
way,
good
it's
run.
playoff basketball. Yeah.
Yeah, and at 20 to
Um.
1 as the 7, like
Mhm.
I could see them making a run. I don't know that they'd win, but it's a solid group.
Mhm. And I think Wright State's the favorite now. On Thursday, they weren't, but That team is that's a favorite with some.
Yeah, the betting favorite as of yesterday is Youngstown.
Okay.
Wright State is fourth at plus 320, which still isn't bad. I mean, I think Green Bay at plus 950 is ridiculous. I really think that's a
Yeah, there's a lot
very
of value
solid.
there just because, like, that. I think Green Bay has played most of the teams, at least close, if they haven't won. Like, I think they lost to Youngstown couple like midweek. I didn't see what they did yesterday if they even played. But yeah, like the Horizon, the teams aren't they it seems to me like the gap between one team to another isn't that great, and you can get away with taking a chance on one of those, teams with a um, bigger price tag on them for sure.
Yeah, and they haven't been good the past couple of games, but they've also been missing their starting point guard, Noah Reynolds, and he is one of the better players in the conference scoring wise. He's had 6 30-point games this season. Um, and he has the highest assist rate of anybody in the Horizon. And so when they're led by him, that offense is completely different than when he's been gone. And from the reports that I've seen, he should be good to go for this tournament. I don't know if he played in their last game or not, but he was out with like an ankle injury. So I've seen reports that he should be good to go for this tournament. And I think that's a huge grab. And that plus 950 may not be reflecting that. That might change based on when he gets officially ruled in. But I think that's definitely worth a spot. I may even take that.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that one too. I think that Green Bay is a good value play to me, anyways. Even a team like Milwaukee, like they're probably a long shot. They're not that good, but like they could string together, 3 wins, 4 wins. I don't see why that would be impossible. But yeah, I mean, there's a couple of realistic options you could choose from in the horizon.
I would definitely go Green Bay. And if you want to take more of a favorite, um, I mean, I know they're the betting favorite in this conference, but Youngstown is always a really experienced team. And I think they're more consistent than Oakland just based on eye test. Like
Yeah.
I feel like when I catch Oakland and in some of these games that I've watched, they're like Wright State. Like they just go cold sometimes. And as a 1 seed, that's probably gonna bite you at some point.
Yeah. But I mean, Oakland beat Xavier, did they not? Like in
They
December?
did. They did.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think they definitely have an opportunity. Any team at the top,
And I believe they played
except
Michigan State pretty tough, if I recall, in the first half. I believe Michigan State ran away with it late in the second half.
I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think they did. I think
So I'm
that's
pretty
the
sure I
case
bet
though.
on
It
that
was like
game.
13 or 14 or 15, and
Yeah.
they just lost. Yeah, I think I laid them with Michigan State. Just everyone was betting Oakland. I think it was like just after they had beat Xavier a couple days
Yeah, I
before.
think it
But
was too. Yeah.
yeah, but like we were saying, the Horizon League definitely there are 3, 4, 5 legitimate teams that could probably make the tournament this year, make the March Madness tournament. So,
Yeah, I
any
can
other
see that.
thoughts there?
No, I think that about nails it for the Horizon. We're going to jump over to a pretty boring one just because the skill gap from 1 to even 2 is kind of ridiculous. The Patriot League, you got Colgate at the top. I'm seeing minus 250 to win this tournament. And I think that's a pretty fair price. Not that I would ever pay it, but I mean, the
You
system
mean
play in the regular season is Colgate. Like, take them with the spread in conference play. I mean, they just run these teams out of the gym.
for the most part, yeah. But I was gonna say the 2 and 3, like this conference to me, it's 1, 2, or 3. There's no other team that can win this. I'm
Yeah,
only saying American because they had just recently beat Colgate on the road. That's saying a lot. Typically, American's not very good. I think they beat Georgetown last year too. I don't know if they kept any of the guys they had from last year or not. Like, why would you know American basketball? But anyways, the point is, um, if they're super long, I think that's even telling. Like they beat the favorite on the road, and they're
yeah.
still
Their
not getting a
American
ton
is
of
plus
others.
750
Yeah, like
as the
that.
4 seed.
Yeah, and that's to me that's like indicative of they're not going to win that tournament. So like even that's an obvious one. Like hey, they could, but the line to me says like they won't. So
And
to me, it's
if you really wanted to play something like that, I would play Lafayette. And they've actually have not been as of good like the last I think 3 or 4 weeks, but they went on a really hot stretch like right in the middle of conference play. But they're 15-1 as the 3 seed. So if you really feel inclined to take something that's going to have a big payout over 10-1, and you're kind of looking up and down the board, Lafayette might be a good play, but I don't see Colgate losing this tournament.
no, I don't either. But who's the 2 seed?
Boston, BU at plus 600, who I have honestly not seen almost any of this year.
They're not very good. Same thing. This conference very unexciting. So I mean, that's our thoughts. It's Colgate and like
Colgate and everybody else.
yeah, maybe BU or American, but probably not. And I think Lafayette had just recently played Colgate pretty close. Maybe they actually get it done this time. But just the way everything's priced, to me, it seems like it would be Colgate or nothing. So
Yeah. Well, this one, similar to the name of the conference, should be a little bit better. The Fun Belt Conference is also tipping off tomorrow. We've got App State not as the betting favorite, but the 1 seed at plus 180, and James Madison as the 2 seed, but the betting favorite at plus 120. And then there's kind of a drop off. But similarly to the others, I don't really think there's a dark horse as far as value in this conference. I mean, you could argue Louisiana Lafayette at plus 1,200, but even them, like they're so streaky. Like I haven't really been impressed with them. And I've watched them a handful of times, and there's just nothing there that they've shown me. I mean, maybe Troy as the 3, but even them, I'm kind of spotty with.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. To me, it's going to be James Madison or App State. And, just the way they're priced, it doesn't seem very fun to bet on either of those unless you do both. And it's like, oh, I throw 2 units on each one and maybe I'll get the difference.
You get a profit. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that way, a different team wins it. Just if I were to do that, a different team would win. That way everyone else would be happy. But yeah, to me, it's the same boat. App State and James Madison are actually good teams. I mean, James Madison beat Michigan State.
App State
week
beat,
2.
Yeah, who did App State beat early on? Was it?
Yeah, they had a pretty good non-conference win too. I don't remember who it was off the top of my head.
I believe it was an SEC team. But I mean, you're getting the 1 seed at plus 180. Like that's not a bad play by any means. Actually, it was Auburn. They beat Auburn by 5 in App State.
Yeah, which is crazy.
That's what I thought, yeah.
Because who knew Boone was such a basketball city?
Yeah.
And Auburn's solid. So.
Yeah, they are. I've actually been really impressed with them down the stretch. They've beaten some good teams. Like they beat Toledo in a boat race. Like they've got solid wins under their belt.
App State's actually good. Yeah, they're actually good. James Madison is too. Like, don't be surprised when one of these teams makes the tournament. They're going to be a trendy underdog. Like in that. I mean, I don't know if they'd be like a 12 seed. I'm not sure typically how high the mid-major or group of 5 teams go for the most part, minus like, the Big East or whatnot. But the Sun Belt isn't really known to be a basketball conference or any conference for that matter, really, minus maybe like baseball. But I would imagine these would be a trendy underdog. And truthfully, like, I don't know if they have at-large bids in the Sun Belt, but could you see both of these teams making the tournament? Because I feel like the resume is there for both of them. I'm not exactly sure how that works with, all the smaller conferences, but maybe a rule change is in order because both of these teams should probably be playing in the Big Dance. They're good.
Probably,
they're actually
yeah. Good. I mean, James Madison beat Michigan State early. They've beat Kent State, who I know is down this year, but it's still a solid win.
Perennial MAC contender, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, they did get swept by App State, which is the only thing, but they also beat
Mhm.
Akron, who is the class of the MAC. So that's a very solid resume win, and Michigan State to go with it. So conceivably, I think they could get both. I don't think they will, but
Probably not, but like,
I like App State to win this thing at plus
yeah, I
180.
think I do too. But then
I
again,
don't
it's
really
like
see anybody
James
else.
Madison is the odds-on favorite despite losing both games to App State, so maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's a sign too. I'm a big believer in that. Like things aren't priced wrong for no reason most of the time, even though
Yeah.
we think they are. They're not. Like there's a reason why the casinos are really big and really tall and have lots of nice stuff because they're smarter than us most of the time. So I think to me that's telling. It's probably James Madison's tournament to win, but
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
mean,
shame
if
you
you
for betting App State either.
no, and if you really wanted to take Troy, I don't think it's awful. They actually played really well in conference play. They were 13-5, and beat App State. So I they didn't play James Madison this year, so it's hard for me to kind of
Yeah.
justify them winning it because when you only play between the top two teams, you only played them once. They've only played App State once and they won. So it's kind of hard to justify that they could win it, but I really think if you're not, I wouldn't recommend betting this conference. I don't think there's a good dark horse, but if you really wanted to, I think App State at plus 180 is a decent sprinkle. But
Yeah,
like you
like
said, I mean, you very easily could see either of them getting out.
as low as I'd go would be like Southern Miss. Like maybe.
I don't even think I would go that low. I know
No. And
they're
like
they're
that's a
plus 7,000, but
big did that low when I did this. It
yeah,
was like plus
as the 6th seed.
2,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as the 6th seed.
That's as low maybe as I'd go. But to me
Yeah,
it's like
ULL is plus 1,200, and I still wouldn't go them. I mean, Arkansas State maybe at plus 800.
yeah, they can score a little bit, but they have clunkers as well. Like I bet them against
Yeah,
App State on Wednesday night or Friday night, one of the two. I don't remember what night it was, but played them close for 10 minutes. Might as well have gone to the locker room for the rest of the half. Then you can't get out of that. So probably App State or James Madison. So
as square as it is, picking the
yeah,
one or two
and
seed, but it's like
I hate being
I
like
know.
that, but to me it's just the way it is. So any closing thoughts?
That's our show, folks. I know, not real exciting with these conferences kicking off tomorrow, but I think the best bet of across the board of any of these conferences is going to be the Green Bay Phoenix plus 950. I think that one gets the stamp of approval in any of these. I think that's a great line for a team that, despite not being super hot the last week, can easily get hot and rattle off 4 or 5 wins.
Yeah, I think so too. And just looking at that conference one more time, Green Bay's not a name that's gonna come across a lot of people's radars. At least we don't think so. I mean, it's gonna be your
Youngstown,
classic Youngstown, Wright State. Rightfully so, of course, because they're the best two teams in that conference. But like we discussed, I think there are a good half dozen teams that could win the Horizon League this year.
yeah, 100%. That's our show, folks. Make sure to check us out at Overdue Sports on Twitter and overduesports.com. We'll be putting stuff out all through the week, and this is just the first in a lot of these. So if your favorite conference or your home team's conference or your alma mater's conference wasn't in this one, we will cover it eventually. So stay tuned because we're covering every single conference tournament with our best bets, some stamps of approval, and what we will be taking. We're out of here.